Go for it.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Slightly Unqualified. These two jabronis didn't know what they did when they decided to make me the host. I have all the power, so you guys will listen to every word I have to say. No, I'm just kidding. So, before we get started, how's everyone's week going?
I'll
go first. Good. The pain of the Eagles is slowly subsiding as the days go on.
It's 3 weeks out now.
But right now, what's taking over its place is the freaking pain of the Miami Heat. They are abysmal. They are trash. I am a Suns fan with Kevin Durant now. That being said,
shut up, for real. So you jumping ship?
So he's jumping.
The real problem with this last week or so is my son decided to have a mind of his own and not sleep anymore. So I've been tired. I've been sick like the whole weekend. I still am kind of congested, if you guys can't tell. But other than that, good. Life goes on. Drinking water, hydrating, exfoliating, that kind of stuff. What about you, Steve?
I'm doing pretty good, man. This week has been flying. My house everybody's getting healthy. We're like on the end of it. I think. Not you got hit?
No, we got the pestilence this week. Feels like every week we got something new. Someone new.
Dude, that's what I'm saying too, man. I did a little bit of skateboarding this week. I know it's crazy. It was pretty fun, and then it rained on me. Got some chance to play some COD with Matt earlier this week. Was told by my 3-year-old that I have a bad attitude when I play video games, and then I need to stop cussing. And I was like, you know what, little girl? You don't know what it feels like when you're trying to push A or the B flag, and Matt's yelling rotate. We're rotating, and then we get hit by a camper. I told her, until you feel that pain, I grabbed her and no, I'm just kidding. She just
one day you will know.
Yeah, one day you will know this feeling. But
I will be there.
I'm really having the itch to play COD. It's weird. I thought I was going to be kind of, I didn't really care for the update, but the CDL thing is the ranked mode, I should say, has really got me kind of an itch going. So besides that, my week's been pretty good, man. I've been blessed.
That's awesome.
What about you,
Andrew? Kids are sick. Wife's trying to recover. I'm starting to feel it come on. Got a big presentation for work tomorrow, so that doesn't help. That I'm like, I feel it right now. So hopefully all this talking tonight will help that loosen the vocal cords up.
Loosen the phlegm?
Yeah, there's been a lot of phlegm. But other than that. So we're going to try something a little bit new tonight. We're going to call it the late bloomer. So for me, if you guys didn't catch last week, I didn't see Quantumania on time. Just had life catch up with me. But since then, I went and saw it last night with my wife. So now I can actually know what you guys are talking about and not pretend to know. I actually do know now.
Yeah.
All right, so give us your thing.
Well,
give us your...
Before we even get to the review, let's get just to the straight meat and potatoes. What do you think of MODOK?
I thought MODOK was pretty funny.
Okay.
So last week we talked a little bit about how you guys didn't feel there was like tension between him and Cassie. And I feel like that's not true. I feel like when she first sees him, she's like taken back, and she says something like the bee in the room. And so it goes away pretty quickly because he's just one of those kind of throwaway villains. but it was interesting that that first initial shock. But it's hard to get over how, and it's not that the CGI is bad. It's just that uncanny valley. Like, it's not real. So your brain's like, something's not right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it a couple times. I'm like, no, the CGI is not bad. It's I think my brain is just telling me like, no, this is not a real thing.
Not right. Yeah.
My wife laughed when they're taking him out of the tub and you see his little butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I'm not gonna lie.
No, but MODOK, I thought they nailed MODOK for what he is, and I don't know if there's a lot that you can do with a character like that, just because it's designed to be just wacky and weird. So impressions that I had originally, and I feel like I've been saying this more and more about Marvel movies, is I just feel like they can do whatever they want at this point. There's nothing that's too weird that people are going to be like, well, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who looked like broccoli, that was hilarious.
That was hilarious, dude. That scene was
came
perfect.
out of nowhere. So that was really funny. But the vibes that I got is, and I don't know if this is like a theme that Marvel's trying to adopt. So before I get into it, let me kind of explain where I'm going with this. So when the Dark Knight trilogy came out, it was really popular. And so DC tried to copy that style, right? They wanted to make every character dark and gritty, make all the movies, very dark. I feel like since Guardians of the Galaxy has come out, it seems like more and more of the Marvel movies have tried to replicate that humor / we're going to throw some weird stuff in there. And it almost is slightly starting to be a little too much. I think of the Thor Love and Thunder. I feel like they tried to copy way too much Guardians in the Galaxy with that. And it's just it seems kind of weird that they're like, Guardians was great. Let's see if we can replicate it with everything now. When I feel like phase 1, it was every style of movie was different. And that was okay. But now it's kind of blending this together. You disagree?
Phase 1 was all the same film. Origin films that have a coming out party for the hero that are, there's lackluster, besides Iron Man 1, lackluster, no comedy, kind of boring and dull, but good intros.
Maybe I'm thinking more of phase 2 then, because
you're thinking more phase 2.
Yeah, phase 2, I feel like it was more, because you had Iron Man 3, that was more of a tech movie. You had Winter Soldier, that was basically espionage, takeover. Thor was that wasn't a great movie, but a Viking movie. Just seemed like everything was in its own different category. And I know that Kevin Feige has said that that's how they want to create movies. They want to create movies within their own light, but it feels like they're blending it together, at least in my opinion.
I think okay. I don't disagree necessarily with the comedy part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any movies like Guardians, except for Thor: Love and Thunder, Ant-Man, and Thor: Love and Thunder, is twofold for me. Because it's after an existential crisis that Thor just had. This is kind of how a midlife crisis happens for most people. Mm-hmm. A little bit more wacky, a little bit more humorous, a little bit more crisis than they usually are, especially post losses like Nat and Cap and Iron Man. Thor is the last of the core 4. So, or the
and
core
he's the
5,
last. He's
6,
also the last one. He's also one of the only ones who never had that traumatic breakdown like Tony Stark had it in Iron Man 3.
This is it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we saw his people his dad died, his brother died, his two best friends died, his little sister, which is Nat, pretty much died. Hela was evil. He had to deal with her. Mm-hmm. The weight of the entire 9 realms is on his shoulders. His people got cut in half, not once but twice. This was the movie for me for Thor, where although it wasn't in my opinion, the best movie in the world, don't get me wrong, but the Thor existential crisis, a little bit more goofy and out of it than Thor would normally be, makes sense to me. In this movie specifically, Ant-Man, I expect more weird things in the quantum realm than I do in like the galactic
universe
area, because the quantum realm is unexplored, and so to me, the movies that have had these similar formulas to Guardians have made sense.
Yeah, I
But
don't
if
think
you look
it
across
doesn't make sense. It just feels like you can continue. I'll tell you what one of the things that stuck out to me later.
Yeah, I think when we have people mistake the comedy that they bring in these movies as, oh my gosh, another Guardian style film, because there's like these different style jokes. When that's not the necessarily the case all the time. I think there's a few films that have like emulated the Guardians feel, but looking back at this last phase, going into this one, outside of Love and Thunder, I don't think there's a single film that even looks close to Guardians did. And they weren't, and let's be real, it wasn't the best phase in the world. So what does that tell us?
Yeah. So I guess I was thinking about more of like a lot more CGI. Like you have all these CGI characters that, like, I feel like Guardians did a lot of that. And then they just kind of had these characters that were kind of throwaway characters, but they were supposed to be like comic relief. And I don't remember the character's name from Quantumania, but it's the jelly guy. Like,
yeah, he's pretty funny.
He was funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny, but it was like, this is kind of an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't think the movie was bad. I think King was very, very well done. The only real criticism that I would have, and it's not against King, it's more so the movie trying to put a little bit of stress behind him, was the amount of times that they said he or he wants you. Like, you just felt like they were trying to build it up. And I get, you want to do that to a certain degree, but it almost felt like, okay, stop talking about it and let us see it. Like, And my wife leaned over and she's like, "This guy better be freaking awesome!" Like,
and like, was he not?
Yeah, he was.
Was
great.
he not? Yeah, he was amazing.
Anticipation just seemed like they stretched it a little too much.
45 minutes into the movie before you see King, and he mentions like 13
I like
times.
it. I
thought it was good. So talking about that, I was reading yesterday, just checking out some of the news and the new movies that we're going to talk about later. People were saying the general public. I need to put that in quotes because not everybody's as a Marvel fan as some of us. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that we're hardcore. We know everything about everybody, but we're we're a little more than my dad or my wife going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? My wife's just watching a movie. A lot of people bashed on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They said it was terrible, like terrible. They're saying this is the downfall of Marvel movies. They've been saying that, and I'm not gonna lie, we haven't got crazy epic movies like we did back in the day. Don't get me wrong, but they're still good content. They're not trash. Yeah. I still enjoy them. There's a couple of pieces here and there from Marvel, like She-Hulk. I wasn't a huge fan of. I get what they were going with it. There's a couple of pieces here and there that I'm not a fan of, and I can admit that. But I do like the direction that Marvel's going. The funny and yet still serious. I feel like I could take my kid to this movie, and as an adult, I can like the fight scenes. Where like Guardians of the Galaxy, I think that was perfectly done. Where it was like, hey, we don't need to be too serious, like a Dark Knight kind of movie, but yet we can also have those gritty scenes with being able to take our kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think Guardians kind of cemented that, being it's okay to be funny and have a good action movie. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah. If you think about it, Guardians took like a pretty big risk because it really changed the way that the Marvel movies were looked at, because before that there wasn't like a whole lot of comedy to it, but then they realized like if it's done right, people are gonna love it.
Yeah, that and the first Ant-Man, that the same risk, and they made those two films super unique and super good.
So the other thing I was gonna say too is the one thing that I've always appreciated about the Ant-Man line.
Franchise,
Yeah, is they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. They don't take themselves too serious. Like, it was. I don't think it was in the actual movie, but there was a trailer of the original Ant-Man where Scott Lang's like, Ant-Man? Who came up with that name? Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it made the actual cut, but I remember seeing that and like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you have this character.
Kind of
it's kind
stupid
of goofy.
character.
Yeah. But yet
especially Scott's version.
Yeah, but they have this ability to run with it and be like, we know it's a weird character. We're going to do weird things with it. And so that's why I think
100%
the weirdness works with Ant-Man. But it's just kind of a trend that I've noticed that I feel like, and I hope it's not the case. And I know that the MCU can change if they want to. But it just feels like the last few movies have tried to replicate that Guardians, but haven't quite nailed it. More specifically, Love and Thunder. But I just wasn't too satisfied with that tone.
I have to relook, but I would challenge that notion very strongly. I think there might be 3 films total since the first Guardians that actually tried to emulate what Guardians was. And I think the ones that haven't done very well.
With the exception of Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok did it pretty well.
Yeah, I enjoy
Ragnarok.
I enjoy that movie. I watch it all the time.
The more risky films we've seen in the last last phase and a half, give or take. Like I'll throw one out there that's like very different than the rest of them that everyone hated. The Eternals. That was in my opinion, from a cinematic perspective, which is what I forgot the director's name, but what she brought to the table was the independent film kind of looking thing. I think it played well for what the Eternals were. I like that movie. And
I do too.
I'm in the minority there, I think. Not here, but in the minority amongst people.
I love the movie.
But that's an example to me of like, okay, we're trying a different direction. That was definitely a more serious tone for sure. And a more I would say like Dune-ish, more Dune kind of dry tone. And it got just destroyed because it didn't follow what the MCU typically does.
I think the only real mistake that happened with the Eternals is
killing Icarus.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's dead, but
I was sad though.
Yeah, but I feel like had they introduced these characters maybe throughout some of the movies leading up to it, it would have made it a little bit easier to follow. Just because you're dropping like 8 people in, and it's hard to get invested at 8 people in such a short amount of time. But like if there was a little hint, or even if they just did the post-credit scene where they introduced a couple people a couple times, like 30-second clip of explaining who they are, building it up, but there really wasn't any build up to that. I don't remember if that was because of COVID or anything. It could have been, but there wasn't any kind of build up. It was just like, boom, here we are.
I do have.
So just to capitalize exactly what we just brought down, out of the 31 movies, ratings wise, the last 3, number 29 is Thor: Love and Thunder. Out of all the movies, this is the 29th.
Thor: Dark World. Thor: Dark World's got to be down there too, or Iron Man 3.
I don't know. I think people.
Check it. Number 30 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And the last one has the worst rating out of all of them. Is 31 is the Eternals. This is off of Rotten Tomato kind of like the staple point. You know what I mean? Like the critics. I take this with a grain of salt because
critics are terrible.
Because people who are like, I don't get it. What happened to the last dude who played Black Panther already? You know what I mean? Like people don't care. You know.
What's number 1 on that list? That would tell us everything we need to know.
Number 1's probably Endgame.
No, it's Black Panther, and then it's at 96, and then Endgame at 94, and then it goes.
Those aren't
Iron
the 2
Man.
best films in the MCU, in my opinion.
So I'll flash them real quick, and it's Iron Man, Ragnarok, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Homecoming, Guardians 1,
Homecoming tied too.
Marvel Avengers, just the regular Avengers, Shang-Chi, Far From Home.
Also
Civil War, Winter Soldier, the regular Doctor Strange, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then it's Infinity War, Guardians 2, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man, then it's Captain America, Miss Marvel, Black Widow, Ant-Man, Iron Man 3, Thor, Ultron, Iron Man 2, Doctor Strange, Madness, the Incredible Hulk beat the Dark World, and then it's Thor,
As it should.
Ant-Man, yeah, and then the Eternals. But
Yeah.
I don't agree with this at all. But
this is terrible.
That's just a critic's Rotten Tomato. Yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
So my last touch on this Ant-Man topic, because we discussed it last week, Andrew. I respect your opinion.
It's trash, but
I expect it. I do actually.
I like this movie.
I did too.
I didn't think it was a bad movie. Like,
no, I agree with you on almost everything you brought up. Everything.
I have one gripe that I thought of this last week, and it's specific to Ant-Man. I think they shied away a lot, and this is I gotta explain a little bit from what made the first two Ant-Mans great or unique per se. The shots in the first film, the shot where he's in the tub and he's itty bitty and the water's coming, that made Ant-Man feel so unique. Where he's running the little diorama hotel thing and then shooting the gun at him, that made Ant-Man super unique. When he has to do a heist that goes through these really small squares of lasers and get into a tube, that made Ant-Man unique. When they're fighting and he gets electrocuted as Ant-Man in the little bug trapper, it makes Ant-Man unique. In the second film, when they're fighting in the kitchen, that's probably one of the best scenes, shot-wise, in the MCU. And none of those types of scenes happen in this movie whatsoever. And it broke my heart because it made Ant-Man so unique and different and fun and anti that I just missed that part of it when I thought about it.
Yeah, I actually had the thought when I was watching the movie, and you reminded me of this, that the parts where he goes giant, it felt weird because I'm like, well, he's super tiny right now, but he's able to go big. It just, I don't know why. For some reason, I was like that. I'm having a hard time making sense of that.
So I actually watched a little bit on it. Some of the directors were talking about that the Ant-Man in this movie, people were complaining that he didn't do anything unique. He didn't go tiny and run up Kang, you know what I mean? And then maybe punch him in the face under his suit, whatever it was. Or go in there and break his tech, whatever it was. They put all their emphasis in showing that was the biggest Ant-Man has ever been. And I understand where they were going, but I don't think they captured it. I don't think.
But
you know what I'm
the
saying?
Biggest he's ever been because he's tiny
in the quantum realm.
Yeah,
exactly. That's he's tiny because technically he's So they were trying to emphasize on how big he was, but I don't think they got it. Also, too, the fact that his daughter got the same size as him first try. You know what I mean? Those are those weird little paradox things that I just drive me nuts. But
yeah, we'll touch up on one last thing that I just remembered is kind of a complaint that I had, and then we'll go into our next topic.
For sure.
The very last thing, and I felt like the movie could have left me wanting so much more with a cliffhanger. Because we obviously know there's a cliffhanger with the Kings, but an Ant-Man cliffhanger. So the part where the portal closes down and it's just Wasp and Ant-Man. I feel like
nowhere.
And it's just boop, 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 no problem. If the film could have been taking it to the next level, it would have been hey, we're gonna look for them. We're not gonna give up until we find them, because then it also mirrors what they did for Janet, to where they were searching for her. But now you have two people that have an opportunity to get even closer, because really that's the only time they express feelings for each other is at the end. And then they're just rescued like it's nothing. But it could have been, and they didn't even have to make another movie about it, but just explain how they've had time to be together. Their relationship has grown. They're that much stronger together.
But you don't remember, just to sorry, real quick, because that would have been a plot hole though in the movie if that happened. Because in the very beginning, the reason why they get sucked in is because Cassie made that sonar for the quantum realm to find Scott easily.
Yeah.
So if they would have left him there, it would have been well, the whole point of us going in the first place is because Cassie built this thing that obviously worked because they found them and she found them. It would have been
yeah, but I thought that gets destroyed by Janet. I thought she smashes it.
She pulls the chip out. but by then she pulls the little power cord chip out,
Uh-huh.
and then it goes down, and she's like calm, and then it sparks back up because, which they never explained, by the way, real quick,
Yeah.
because something sparked it back up to suck him back in.
Right.
No, MODOK did. In the theory, Kang. Well, in the lineup, it's supposed to be MODOK who's the one who pulls them back. You know what I mean?
Okay, makes sense.
But that's I had the same thing, and there I was watching Screen Rant or something, and they were like, one of the Easter eggs, and they're all MODOK hints to it. You know what I mean? That he's the one who pulled them in, but it's very generic in that.
Yeah,
sense.
there's that line where he's like, "Thanks for sending that signal, Cassie."
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said that, it reminded me of it. But all right, let's change topics real quick. So let's talk about this new Haunted Mansion trailer that was just dropped. I think today, right?
Yeah. Oh well, I don't know if it dropped today. I think it dropped last night or sometime yesterday.
Yeah.
But I got a chance to watch it earlier today, and I was blown away. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm stoked for the movie. I think it's a fresh cup of Joe. I love what Disney's doing with it. I love the actors. And I don't know if Andrew, did you happen to see the trailer? What do you think of it, Matt?
Yeah. Sorry, cough.
No,
you said Andrew. Then you threw me off.
My bad.
You're good. So, to kind of elaborate a little bit more on what you said, Steve, I'm excited for it as well. The direction Disney's going in with it isn't all kiddie and Disney-ish. Like I thought the original Haunted Mansion was, in my opinion, kind of tacky. Good. Listen, I'm the biggest Disney fan in the world. Don't kill me out there, Haunted Mansion fans. Anyway. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, that's getting choppy. Anyways.
MODOK's trying to get him.
Yeah. So massive Disney fan, got married there. You'll be hard pressed to find someone who knows more about Disney history, like just stupid things, than me. Love Disney. The Haunted Mansion, the first one, tacky, kiddie, but good because I was a kid and then it was and I had fun with it. This new one looks more edgy. Number one, it looks a little bit more like dipping the toe in like the actual horror film waters a little bit, which I'm excited for. It's just a different. It's like it's the same franchise, but like a different, like fresh take on it. So like when they're cookie cuttering these other live action films, like they're making like a Pinocchio, it's almost cookie cutter to the original. That's cool. I'm fine with that. But this one's like a different, fresh perspective and different than the first. It's not remaking. It's not redoing the same thing. It's remaking the same franchise. Rosario Dawson, I'm excited for. Danny DeVito, who hates Danny DeVito, right? Everyone likes Danny DeVito.
Yeah, everybody likes Danny DeVito.
And then I didn't know. This is gonna sound bad again because I'm a big Disney fan. I swear, I promise. I didn't know Lakeith Stanfield was like the main character. I just watched him a couple months ago in The Harder They Fall in that Western film on Netflix.
Love that movie, dude.
He might be my favorite character in that film, and that film is filled with like amazing acting and amazing characters.
Yes.
So I'm excited for Lakeith Stanfield. I haven't seen him do bad in anything. Judas and the Black Messiah, Get Out, everything he's been in, he's been good in. So I'm excited for him specifically and Rosario Dawson in this type of environment of a film they're trying to build that I saw so far.
Yeah, dude.
So I think there's a couple things. I wasn't crazy about the first Haunted Mansion movie, but I was actually having a talk about this with a coworker, and the reason was because the story was just like weird, right? It was kind of like kiddie, but we started comparing like, okay, well, there's not a whole lot to go off of just the Haunted Mansion ride. Like,
yep, true.
There's not like any lore behind the Haunted Mansion. There's a couple of things that kind of go throughout the ride, but at the same time, the counter argue was, well, wasn't Pirates the same way? So I think for like this to do well,
it is true. They
just have to have a good story, and I think they could do that with almost any ride. I didn't see the river cruise ride, but movie.
Oh, Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, Jungle Cruise.
It's all right.
But I feel like you have all these things that bring nostalgia to adults, children. It brings them together, but you can't just throw it into a movie and expect it to do well if the story is not good. And so you can tell when some of them are like cash grabs versus, we love the lore behind it, or we love the ride and we want to build out on it more. And that's what I think we got with at least the first couple of Pirates.
Yeah.
But
just
a
like
little skeptical, but I think it could be, there's potential.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Just looking at the cast, looking at that, the fact that they're not going very, like, look at like the clothes that the main character is wearing. I think I'm reading here, his name's Ben in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He just looks like a dude. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like it's all like a cookie cutter Disney movie. It looks like Disney's trying to go, hey, we're trying to build lore here and like really open this world up of the Haunted Mansion. And I saw things in the background that I'm like, oh, from the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Or when he's walking and he sees the same picture frame like 3 or 4 times and it's changing a little bit. I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, that's like in the ride. Or when he's in the room in the trailer and all the windows start disappearing and it's like it just starts getting bigger as of a room. It's like, oh, the ride. I really like what they did. I hope it's not just like they killed the trailer and then the story sucks. You know what I mean? Because I hate when movies do that. But the cast with Jared Leto in the movie, like they look like they got a good wide range. Yeah, and I hope Disney does kick it into gear with this movie and really correct themselves, because a couple of the last movies I feel like dropped the ball. I think they were more cash grabs, but I hope this does well for Disney. You know what I mean? I really do.
Totally. Any last thoughts on that, Matt?
Big Brother Mickey Mouse is always watching, so we love you, Disney. Don't take Mr. Bucks fan up there with a grain of salt.
Yeah, something like that. Also, too, man, I'm trying to go to Disney, like Paris. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get like fly all the way over there and get.
I'm not trying to go to Paris, but I'll go to anywhere else but Paris.
I want to go to Paris.
Anyways. I think it'd be cool to hit all of them. All right, let's transition again. I think we can do some slightly unqualified.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so give me 1 sec to pull my stuff up.
For those that don't know, the qualified expert of the week is Mr. Steven here.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave me like a little rundown of his topic when I was at his house right now, but he's going to give it to us now. So,
all right. So what I think I am slightly qualified to talk about is I can't speak for all of you guys, but I can speak for myself that I am definitely a collector. I collect almost not anything and everything, but I do like to collect. When I see somebody collecting Disney pins, for some reason it get the itch where I want to collect it. And I might not have any love for it, but I don't know why I like collecting. I collect comic books, baseball cards, basketball cards, Funko Pops, all the way to anything and everything, right? Huge collector. I know Matt is a collector too. I don't know about you yet, Andrew. We haven't really
I try, but I'm like,
yeah. So my thing to talk about is I like to collect on things that I like. I don't collect for rarity, in my opinion. I do know that there are variants of certain things when collecting comic books, alternate art for covers. There is a rarity when it comes to certain collections, comic books, baseball cards, and all that stuff. What I wanted to talk about was how I feel, or in the knowledge of some of the other collectors that I talk to, that the rarity is killing the heart of collectors, if that makes it makes sense. And I think the fact that it's a cash grab for companies, but yet it's a reseller for people who are just trying to make a buck. Right. And I feel that I've been feeling like this for the last year. So I do own a couple stocks here and there. And one of them that I do own is Funko. In the last, 5 years, Funko stock during COVID, did go up to about $25, $25.55. Well, right when COVID kind of ended, and everything, all supplies became available again.
Mhm.
That's when Funko started to mass produce everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was just ridiculous. Instead of it being like, oh, this one is a limited edition to 50,000, it's like limited edition to 250,000. And
Right.
I feel, and what it shows here, it shows that market is dropping on everything from comic books, even now to basketball and baseball cards.
Can you send whatever it is, like wherever the link is? In the
That I
Discord?
have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my theory and what I've been and some of the friends that I collect Funko with have all kind of came to this conclusion that it's the waters are now being oversaturated with product. It's kind of hard, Andrew, because I want to say as a collector, Matt, as a collector, do you think that the reseller or the corporate capitalist companies like Funko and Disney and all these other companies, do you think that it is a negative thing that they overproduce, or are you guys coming with let the business just do their own business? You know what I mean? Like that everybody should be able to pick it up, or do
Mm-hmm.
you think like the fact that there's a chase or a rarity keeps? Do you? I'm
No, I
kind of
get what
finding
you're
out,
saying.
you know what I mean? Because now it's showing the numbers wise that it's not
Mm-hmm.
working
For Funko.
For Funko, just for Funko. This is because I follow Funko. That's my main collection.
So
This morning there was a video released where Funko dropped 3 trucks worth of brand new Funko Pops in boxes into a dump. Like,
I saw that.
And everybody was going crazy. Like, what the heck? They're having so many Funko Pops that they can't even like give them away. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean?
Oh, I mean, you go like to Walmart, you see like the clearance section just filled with Funkos
right
too.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. Do you think that that companies, once they find out that they have a niche, they just flood it and kill it?
So I think there could be a couple things at play. And before I start, I want to express that I am more than slightly unqualified for this conversation.
I am so glad you said that. That was so epic, dude.
Take this with a grain of salt because I could be completely wrong. But this is a thought that I had is okay. So it seemed like for me, and again, feel free to correct me if I start to put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah,
that I feel like the hype of collecting and decorating and having cool things in your room really took a peak right around COVID because there was a lot more people in their rooms on Zoom or showing off that kind of stuff. And now that that's kind of died down, companies they still think that that's what's the trend is when it's not necessarily the same trend. But I think that's just, Funko as a company needs to be aware of what the trend's going to be. I don't think it's necessarily anything that the collectors themselves are doing wrong or they're not collecting as much anymore. I think there were people who would have been like myself who would have been like, yeah, let's start a collection. Like I want to put it all in my room. And they're probably a lot like me where they realize I'm not good at finding this. It's not for me. So they bottom out. And I feel like the people that are true collectors like you guys are going to continue to go through it and push through it and try to find that really cool stuff. But Funko's got to know what's the trend and who's buying and if they're dumping. I haven't seen the video that you guys are talking about, but I can kind of relate with seeing tons and tons of Funkos at Walmart or Target just sitting there like not moving.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is: are we talking about Funkos specifically or collectors?
Just like collectors in general. I just use Funko
Okay.
because I have the stock and I saw it this morning and I was like, wow, it's dropped dramatically.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll go piece by piece here because I don't think the collectors market will ever like die away or go down. I think it can only really increase, in my opinion. Because as someone who collects something, when you collect like one thing, and then you stop collecting it, you just move on to like another thing to collect. You don't really stop collecting things.
Right.
Yeah, true.
So there's always a collector's marketplace because there's always just going to be. Now where Funko messed up on was the whole basis of like their business model is we own this IP. Let's make 35 different variants of the same exact thing, part of a different collection. But let's make like we have Mickey Mouse. Let's make a Mickey Mouse collection for Mickey Mouse, and then a Mickey Mouse collection for Disney, and then a Mickey Mouse collection for this show that Mickey Mouse is in.
Right.
And that's where Funko messes up at with their oversaturation, specifically Funko. The limited edition stuff. I don't think there's a. Well, I don't. If they're not mass manufacturing them like to the millions, which is probably north of $1 million, if not way more than that, Funko collectors in the world, then in my opinion, it's limited edition. Where to the point of what Steven has said here, if you're a collector collecting for the collection, you don't care about the rarity of the thing in the first place. So if it's limited edition 2,000 or 200,000, it's still limited edition. The value shouldn't matter to you. If it does, then you shouldn't be collecting these mass-produced things like the Funkos are. Excuse me.
No, you're good.
Now, pivoting to the things that I like look into the most, which is like Disney pins. I think Disney pins handles it really well. The most I've seen for limited edition is like 5,000 maybe. And then they do a thing called limited release, which is like for a certain period of time we'll be releasing these. When we stop this period of time, then that's however many are out there at that point.
Right.
Then we have these super ultra rare ones who are like 250, 100, and they're worth quite a bit of money depending on like what character or what franchise it is in Disney. That market has, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, just as a collector on the inside. I started collecting like maybe 5 years ago. And since then, it's just kind of shot up. It really hasn't gone down for Disney pin trading. And then I look into like sneakers, which is something I did for a long time, just because I liked sneakers. And this is kind of come full circle here with the Funko stuff, which is why I think it's like a weird thing. Is when Kobe passed away, all his shoes sold out immediately, and the prices were gouged beyond belief by resellers. A response from like Nike or from Vanessa Bryant that she wanted from Nike was, stop making these shoes limited edition. I want everyone to have a pair of Kobe's because Kobe is this icon and legend. So, and the shoe community agreed as a whole. We should be able to get access to Yeezys, to Kobe's. Like, these are just shoes you want. Yeah, we collect shoes, but you're purposely doing this to like limit it for any reason. So to bring it full circle, what I'm trying to say is the collector's marketplace doesn't know what it wants. We either want everyone when someone doesn't get a limited edition item, they're pissed because it's limited edition and they want it mass produced now. When someone does get a limited edition item, they're happy because they got the item that's limited edition that no one else has, that they have that's worth 10 times what it was when you bought it. So 100%. I don't think it's the company's fault that they're just kind of following the direction of like what it is their specific marketplace is like looking for. I just think Funko messes up when they have 10,000 versions of a side character from Friends. Like that's what gets me the most with Funko specifically.
Yeah. So like with Funko, like I have one here. This is, I don't know if you can see it. It's just a Mandalorian with dark saber. It's dope. The dark saber lights up. I think it's cool. It's sitting on my desk. Yada yada yada. One of the things that I hate with Funko or different companies is, especially with Funko, is they'll release that in a non-glow in the dark. Everybody like, oh, I need Mando with the sword. You know what I mean? With the dark saber. So then you're like, hell yeah, dude. You go and you pop it, you buy it, and then 3 months later, oh, Mando's dropping again with the sword, and it glows in the dark. So then you're just like, what?
So
So then you start to go, okay, when something drops, do I just wait for 5 months after it drops and then see if they come out to glow in the dark? But then if they go, oh, we're vaulting this character, so it's not going to redo it anymore. Now the price just went through the roof, and you're just like, damn, I just wanted a Mando with sword. Now I have to come out. I could have got it for $16. Now I'm paying $48. You know what I mean? For a bobblehead, and you're just like, dude, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? That's why I think that's why in my head I was like, I pictured all those common Friends pops they made that got thrown into the dump because everybody knew that there was going to be another wave of like a glow in the dark sweater of Joey, you know what I mean, from Friends. It's like, so why pay for that? You know what I mean?
Do you think it also has to deal with like the relevance of the TV show to the age
huge.
group?
And it also has to do with
I think we talked about last time, like none of us are really like, it might have been the time before, but none of us are really like diehard Friends fans or like.
No, not even close. Seinfeld was way better, but they have same.
Yeah, I don't see many people having that same. I gotta get the Funko Pop for Rachel or Ross or something.
Well,
just because that's not really like that age group.
There are I know, right? There are completists, and when you start collecting anything, you want to become a completist. Where when I started, I collected Batman. When I first started, I collected Batman Arkham. What's the first Batman game? Not Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. I started collecting that wave, and I had to collect all of them. I was like, oh, I got to get this. You know what I mean? But as I got older, I was like, I can't. I'm not older, but as I got so many, I was like, where am I going to put all these? So I had to sit back and be like, what am I going to collect? I got to collect certain ones because this is getting ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not that old. Friends wasn't mine. That was my older brother's.
Right. She's old.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. That's pretty much what I had. It's just what I've been trying to get qualified on, but I still think I'm unqualified in that topic. But that's what I had.
You will probably always be infinitely
more qualified
than me on this topic.
And just qualified in like what's the best food to get you fat? You know, stuff like that. Or
hey, I'm kind of qualified in that too. You know what I'm saying?
Andrew's also qualified in like what's the best thing to stop like a receding hairline? That's like his.
Hey, you got a good set of hair, brother.
How do you keep this bad boy from going back?
Got that Stephen A. Smith forehead there.
Yeah, I feel like as like the last couple months, like it's gone back, but
you have all the thoughts, man. All right, so
all right, let's change topics. I think we want to talk a little bit about Mando.
Yeah, that's Matt threw that in the pile of topics today. So what you got, Matt?
Did anybody watch it first off?
No, not yet.
Ooh.
Oh, the first. Oh, I didn't know it came out. I thought it came out on Friday.
Came out yesterday.
No, I haven't watched it.
So yeah, another Pedro Pascal show, everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
Just cleaning house. He just with the broom, just like I'll take that too. I will take that.
Okay, so there was this meme where like it's just like every episode of The Mandalorian, and it was like just Baby Yoda hopping in a ship. Mandalorian, where do you want to go today? They go somewhere and they fight bad guys and they leave. And then someone commented like, and it's the best show ever every single time. This was literally the same exact thing as that. And I was sitting there like, this is so good still. I'm so glad the Mandalorian's back, man.
Yeah.
I just
I do
love the Mandalorian as a character. Grogu, the crazy part for me is that as loved as Grogu is, if Grogu wasn't in it and Mando just went like city to city, planet to planet, just like on some quest, I would still be fine with it. It's good, man. It's only 35 minutes, which broke my heart. I was like, I waited a year.
Oh, yeah, I was so surprised how short the announcement was that it was going to be, under 40 minutes.
Yeah. So, but it's good, man. I don't want to like say anything too much. I'll let you guys watch it yourself and experience it because it's really good. But there's a specific scene where I forgot that dude's name. His buddy that was like in that town, that was like the head of the bounty hunters in the first season.
Grief Cargo.
Yes. Wait. There's this scene where them two are like uniting again, and like some people try and come and punk them, and just the aura the Mandalorian has, like in that scene, just the aura that like Mando has on screen is like, man, I just missed this Star Wars old Western TV show, man. I forgot how much I loved it. I wanted to go back and rewatch the first two seasons again. Like,
it makes me.
I just love this show, dude. It's so good.
The first 2 seasons and half of Boba Fett.
When
Mendo, I got your show,
one
brother.
episode.
The Power Ranger episode.
So one of the things that I really like about The Mandalorian is I feel like the balance of the parent figure and child works really, really well. And I think it's because everyone wants to know where Grogu's going. Like, and I think that's it kind of feels like the ultimate trump card, because I think, and I don't know if we've ever had this conversation, so I think we'll steer into it. Because if you think about the title, The Mandalorian, do you think they're talking about Grogu or are they talking about Din? Because say there's a season where little Grogu gets his helmet and he becomes a Mandalorian.
Well, he picked the Beskar armor.
Right. But it's going to bring whole new meaning to even the title of the show.
That's going to be crazy.
The Mandalorian is not the person that we've thought is the main character, but it's actually been this Grogu character becoming a Mandalorian.
Well, let's take it a step further.
Let's go deeper.
What if them to establish the planet of Mandalore? And I'm saying it's because of the first episode. The planet of Mandalore again, and the Mandalorian now becomes that, like, just the blanket statement of like the planet of Mandalore and the Mandalorian, like, religion.
Crazy.
Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of things that can go on with that. Yeah, man, I think you're right about the Grogu thing. I could do with or without him. He's great. He's not. I don't dislike him. Love him to death. But to me, I think besides the first season, if you pulled like Grogu out of there, and you gave him like a sack of spice he had to protect instead of Grogu, I think it's almost just as good. Just because of that old Western town gunner feel.
No, I agree with you
there.
there.
Who does too?
Yeah, I just think that's like you have almost an infinite character that you can take any direction because there's not an actor that's associated with him. He's completely CGI or puppet, so he can age as fast or as slow as you want. He can be relevant for as long as you want versus, someone like Pedro. He's going to have opportunity that might seem more appealing to him, or he might just get sick of a contract and be out. I hope that's not the case because I think he does the character really well.
They would beat that guy. Yeah, he would never leave us. If he does, dude, they would hunt that man down.
Right. But who's to say that, he gets tired of playing that character or that character's arc comes to an end?
Yeah, that's going to happen at some point.
You can still keep the name of the Mandalorian, but transfer it to a Force-sensitive Mandalorian that could potentially bring the balance of Mandalore, wielding the Darksaber, here.
But the problem becomes that he's supposed to be 50 years old already, and he's a freaking baby. Din and Jar have to be like, what? 200 years old before Grogu can even think about being trained to be like the king of Mandalore.
But also too, like, say everything that we say is right. Say Grogu becomes Mandalorian, yada yada yada. How does that play in with the Star Wars movies that are after it? The Rey and the whatever. It doesn't. But it's like, wouldn't you think that would be referenced in a way, or
no.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it has to.
If you have the first order blowing planets up just like the Death Star did, everybody's gonna it impacts everybody. Because if me and you, Andrew, are talking and all of a sudden this guy has lasers shoot through it out of his eyes and just blows this dude to pieces, we don't just go off and walk away. Like that, it does have something to do with us now, because
but the Outer Rim doesn't. The jurisdiction of the Outer Rim never is touched by the Empire or the First Order.
I think
the Outer Rim.
Yeah, I think the match point is the Mandalorians have never really taken a side, nor have they cared what conflict is going on. So them seeing another conflict is like, that's nothing new to us. We've been trying to figure our crap out for years.
True, that is true. They've been at Civil War.
So I don't think that they would see even the First Order and be like, whatever. We got our own.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out who's the new ruler, who's going to come take the next throne. Personally, that's what I think is even if they try to tie it into the sequels, I don't even think they have to go that route.
So this is my prediction. This is what I'm throwing out there, and this is what I'm going with. Mando gets in a fight with somebody. Mando's about to kill somebody who's maybe shouldn't die. Mando's going crazy, and he's about to just kill somebody. And Grogu kind of force stops him, to like, hey, don't kill him, or you don't need to kill. And I think Grogu force stops him, pulls the saber, and like receives the saber, saying that Grogu beat him in battle. You know what I mean? And now Grogu is this like 50-year-old baby leader of, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I think it would be cool, because it gives Grogu the reins, but yet at the same time doesn't make him look weak.
See this hand right here? See this? Reach. Y'all are reaching for Grogu to be the main character. Leave Din alone. Din Djarin is doing just fine.
No,
if Lucasfilm / Disney knows what's best for them, they're keeping Din Djarin as the poster boy for Star Wars as long as humanly possible. Right. I'm talking like 10 years from now, Pedro Pascal is still signing another 10-year contract. Yeah. Like
he's building that house.
He needs to be and Grogu can still be there throughout the whole thing. But like the emphasis on this little creature that doesn't speak English, like it's too much. We're expecting too much from this little thing.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I think that's more there for a dynamic of Mando having a personal connection to something other than just bounty hunting and killing. Mm-hmm. Like it just makes the character grounded. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't symbolize or mean that he's going to be anything crazy going forward. I think it grounds Mando to something, to like care for something instead of like being this careless, soulless guy that walked around that could hold his own. And I think they did it to introduce him to Ahsoka for whatever they're going to do with her. Eventually, when they bring Ezra in and Sabine, because Sabine's going to be a Mandalore. Grogu was just the center point to make all these things happen. For me, and I don't. It's not far fetched. Like you guys are like onto something. Don't get me wrong. I kind of want to see it happen, but I think if they want what's successful for their brand and IP going forward, you lock Pedro Pascal into a lifetime contract. Well, I'm talking about a Stan Lee on the deathbed doing cameos kind of contract.
And I think they could definitely do that, but again, him as a character, he's finite in how long he can live in the show, how long the actor wants to play it, versus you have a character that will live 9 times as long. Yeah, old like me. But is also not associated with any kind of cast. They could run that for, in my opinion, longer than they could run the Mandalorian
now.
They could run it right now with Grogu kids show. You know what I mean? Like on Mandalore. You know what I mean? They could milk that until all of them.
Yeah, I think they tried to do those with those little Grogu shorts, but I don't think those caught on very well.
Well, they're making a Jedi Youngling show. They don't need to do anything else other than that for the kids, honestly. I wonder how it's going to end, though. Like, the last fight is like them look out the window. Oh, Master Skywalker's here. And then, boom, that's the end of the series.
You know what I mean? Like, please log in with your mother or father's email address by age group to see the final episode.
A series finale called Jedi Temple.
Or just call it the Holocron. And it's just
no.
The Holocron.
The last episode's called Master Anakin Paints Houses.
God. Instead of the Irishman.
Jedi Master
Paints Houses. Tatooine instead of the Irishman.
That'd be crazy. But that sucks. If you don't get that reference, I am very sad for your life, because that was hilarious.
Yeah, they don't paint houses, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, neither one of us have seen The Mandalorian. Would you say the new episode lives up to it? It's
I have no clue what direction they're going in.
Ooh,
So
that's
like
good.
the plot isn't like the greatest, like it's not the greatest cliffhanger in the world. There is like a purpose for like his initial journey, which I think is good, which we all could have guessed when we saw the Boba Fett thing. You got, if you guys watch like the episode of Boba Fett, what he says to her after she says you're not Mandalorian anymore is exactly what he's going to do. Like it's a pick up from that. So it's nothing like to guess or go crazy at. What's going to happen on Mandalore? I have no clue. But just seeing Mando on his own TV show again, man, I love it. I love it so much.
It's been too long. So I think we run with this Mandalorian topic a little bit longer because I want to kind of speculate and kind of get our thoughts of what could happen this season.
So I already gave mine. I'm out of that one. I gave you what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a war, final fight. Grogu pulls it.
So
King of Mandalore. Grogu just hits him with the DX from the top turnbuckle, and he just takes over.
All right. What do you think, Matt?
So I think there's going to be a more unifying aspect of the Mandalorian people.
I think he's fallen into some technical difficulties.
You back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Oh, am I gone again?
No, you're still here.
No, you're good.
Okay,
you're good.
making sure. So
we'll let you know.
There's going to be a more unifying aspect to the Mandalorians. I think the last season we saw a lot of, and even in Boba Fett. Oh my gosh, no, it doesn't. Mando literally has the best theme song.
Mando's
I agree 100% with Rebecca.
Anyways, so
fire.
From what I've seen so far, the fraction of the tribes of Mandalore is going to be a very, very, very strong point. And the unification of the Mandalorian people will be emphasized more than ever. I think he's going to go on Mandalore, which is, that's probably going to be the next episode or two, and kind of clean the planet up, kind of revisit some old things that bring back flashbacks. But I think above all, what happens is the end of this season ends with Mando swallowing his pride and swallowing whatever kind of isolation issues he has and says, you know what? My people need a leader. I'm going to step up finally and be a leader that I know I can be because my people need me at this point. He's going to discover, I think, the different tribes besides his own and what they stand for and what they bring to the country or not country, planet of Mandalore. I think his confliction of him thinking, quote unquote, this is the way versus like what the actual Mandalorian way is going to come into play very heavily. I think what's going to happen is he's going to realize that his people were kind of the ones that were being, the aggressors or the ones being the perfectionists, while the rest of Mandalore was trying to just find a leader to lean on. And I think he's going to become that. That's what I think happens. I don't think anybody beats him in hand-to-hand combat. I think even if the Grogu thing happens, like like per the rules of what Moff Gideon and they established with Bo-Katan, he can't just give up. It's either a fight to the death or a fight till someone yields, but like an actual fight. Because even Mando was like, I yield, because he didn't want it. He tried to give it to Bo-Katan, and she
couldn't take it.
Yeah.
It's not that she didn't. She couldn't.
She couldn't, per Mandalore rules. That also comes into play in the first episode, by the way. That exact thing with Bo-Katan. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm hoping for. I think, one, we have a really good opportunity to see Mandalore the first time in live action. So I think that'll be. I don't think there's a way that they can really mess that up. I think, and what I would like to see is this conflict doesn't really make Bo-Katan a villain, but there's definitely conflict because that's what she's been chasing her whole life, is that leadership.
First episode.
Awesome. All right, cool. I love that they go that way, but also that she can't take it without a fight, because there's a saying that if you take it without a fight, it brings the downfall of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Which they've kind of speculated. I don't think they've gone into a whole bunch of details, but in Rebels, Sabine gets the Darksaber, and then the Purge happens.
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool if they're able to link those two things together and explain that it has to be taken by force because that's how Mandalore is. Do I think the Mandalorian or Din is going to be the leader? I don't really want him to be the leader. I think it could be cool, but
yeah, I think it'd be dope.
I think he's a traveler. I think there might be a time where he tries to rally to put the people together, but at the same time, by doing that, that puts a target on his head that he might not want because he's got this connection to Grogu that he wants to be there for this kid. And so I think ultimately he's going to fight Bo-Katan, lose to her, not necessarily lose, but she's going to rightfully get it back. And that could lead to something else, which I think would be really cool, just a straight Bo-Katan story or how that's going to tie into the Ahsoka show. Because those characters are very intertwined.
Yeah, we know Sabine's coming, so.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited. It's been too long. I think this drought of the Mandalorian has they made us wait too long, and there wasn't enough good content in between to really fill it.
I'm telling you, that title screen hits the first time, you're like, oh my god, the Mandalorian's back. My wife was here, and I was watching it during lunch, and I was like, you have no clue right now. Just hearing this song, I am so excited right now for the 30 minutes of my life.
Yeah, there's honestly, there's not very many shows that my wife will like look me dead in the eyes and be like, do not watch that without me. And The Mandalorian's one of them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she's like, I want to watch you watch it almost because she likes the reaction. But all right, let's. I think that was a good time to transition into our final section of doing some fun games brought to us by the one, the only Mateus.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so I am your humble, gracious, grateful, amazing, greatest of all time, better than Steve Harvey game host. Steve Harvey, if you're listening, you're not. But if you are, I'm better than you. Excuse me, I have a cough. I've been a little bit sick, but it's okay. So this game,
let's go game time, baby.
I had to make up my own descriptions because this is I a lot of time went into this game, right? This is called Name That Movie. Poorly Explained Plot Edition.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna give you.
Throw your hands up and see those hands. He ain't cheating.
I'm gonna give you a poorly explained plot. You're going to tell me the plot. We can do it one of two ways. I can ask one person, and they can do like a point system, 100 points, 50 points if you want a hint, and then switch to the other person. Or I can just say the plot, and y'all can just like ding 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 and do it yourself. It's up to y'all.
I say ding 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 ding.
Okay.
Do it ourselves.
All right. I'm gonna go a little easy on the first two. All right, they're easy to me, but that's because I wrote them. Okay, so
all right,
a group of people spend an absurd amount of time trying to return jewelry.
Trying to return jewelry.
Okay,
we need thoughts out loud because we need to. This is a podcast.
Group of people.
Okay, I think no.
Say it again one more time, please. One more time.
A group of people spend an absurd amount of time trying to return jewelry.
Gosh, he's gonna give us like a Harry Potter one, and it's gonna be like, you guys call yourself Harry Potter fans.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings is correct. Lord of the Rings is correct. That's 1 point for Mr. Con AZ Steven.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Because I was about to say he's probably gonna do some stupid thing like, "Oh, it's Lord of the Rings," and I was like, "Wait, it is dude's trying to return jewelry."
Yeah. All right. So you guys are seeing now what this is going to be.
I see it.
All right. Next one. And what a woman has an awful job interview, so she runs away and joins the army.
G.I. Jane?
Incorrect.
She joins the army.
Awful job interview.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Yeah. A woman has an awful job interview, so she runs away and joins the army.
Ooh, the chat is saying Mulan. That's pretty good.
Mulan.
She joins the army. She has a terrible job interview.
I'm trying to think of
gosh, yeah.
army and females.
Hey, can we get one hint? One hint.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Is it animated genre?
It's animated. It's animated.
It's not Mulan?
It's Mulan. I need you guys to guess, not them.
Oh.
All right. I'm gonna need you guys.
Listen, she had a bad job interview and she did.
I need you guys, listen to me very carefully, to close your chats right this second.
Oh, damn it.
And I need you guys.
Hey, that was Becca, one of our followers. And,
I also need you guys to look
close
directly into the camera the whole time. Just like that. It's a little creepy,
without blinking.
No, if you're going to look away or to the side, your eyes need to be closed where I can see them visibly, because the chat has ruined a damn good plot that I had written.
I'm full screen.
All right.
Yeah.
Next
I do
one.
have 2 screens.
A broke man commits identity fraud so he can manipulate a group of school children.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Incorrect.
No, School of Rock.
School of Rock is correct. That's 2 for Steven.
Let's go, baby. Edgar. Jack Black. I like when he goes, I'm pretty sure your children have touched me. And I'm pretty sure I've touched your children. Oh, yeah, it's classic.
All right, it's 2 for Steven.
All right. Get in the game.
Yeah, you better step it up.
So, an old man gets really childish.
Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button is correct. That is for Edgar.
Dang!
2-1.
That's up. I was gonna say up. Say up.
The last man on Earth finds the love of his life while collecting garbage.
Wally.
Oh, I got that.
That's a tie. That's a tie. Wait. That was in my headset. It was a tie.
What? Yo, chat, run that back. Run it back.
I will watch the replay.
That's a 3-2. 3-2 score. All right. This one's gonna be a little bit vulgar, but it's just what I wrote. All right, so it is what it is.
All right.
A young boy and an old man go to extraordinary lengths to make the boy's parents have sex.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future is correct.
Wow.
Let's go.
Is that 2 or 1? It's 2, right?
It's tied. It's
the first one.
No. It's the first one. That's the plot of the first one. Or is that the plot of the second one?
Because he's getting erased in the first one.
The second one is Biff.
Yeah, that's when he goes. Yeah, okay.
The first one is Biff. I'm sorry. The second one is Marty Jr. All right, it's tied. This is.
Is this the last question?
It was supposed to be like 6 questions, but the Mulan ruined it. So like, wasn't supposed to be tied by this point, but it is. So here is
even better.
Here is the final one. A Charlotte, North Carolina man persuades his girlfriend to kill his ex-boss after he was fired for not doing his job for 3 months. This is a difficult one. A very difficult one.
This is long.
It's long. Let me say it again. All right. A Charlotte, North Carolina man persuades his girlfriend to kill his ex-boss after he was fired for not doing his job for 3 months. This is not an easy one.
So the Carolina man is referenced to something. Like, is it like
a Charlotte, North Carolina man?
Oh, Charlotte.
So I don't know why this is coming to my head, but I'm gonna throw it out there. Forrest Gump.
Incorrect.
I don't know why. It just that was the first thing that popped into my head.
Convinces his girlfriend to kill his.
Persuades, but yes.
Give us a hint.
This one's hard to give hints. Is
it animated?
No, it's live action. It's live action. No, in the film,
what about like
the character is established to be from Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't know the year.
I mean, you have the power of Google right next to you.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Literally, you can ask any question you want.
You want the year that it was in the film?
No, just when the film came out.
2009.
It was definitely gonna be a hard one.
2009.
Yeah. Why did the chat guess Space Jam? This has just because Michael Jordan went to NC. Does it make this?
Yeah, exactly. Man, this is a hard one because.
And for the record, the person like in the film is who's from Charlotte, North Carolina, not the actual actor.
Horrible Bosses.
No, why is the chat open for you? I thought I said to close the chat.
It was. Oh, sorry.
Close the chat.
It pops up on my screen. I gotta close the whole thing. I've never even seen Horrible Bosses either, so I don't even know the plot like that.
Okay, I know it. I know it. This is
is
Avatar.
You think it's Avatar?
I think it's Avatar.
The way you thought this is Avatar? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
This is probably.
Oh, I got it. Avatar 2
was a game-changing film.
Avatar was a game-changing film in 2009. I'm like going through 2009 movies.
Can I Google 2009 movies?
It was Avatar. Andrew got it correct.
Yes, let's go.
Was it?
Hey, hell of an explanation though, right?
Hey, how did you get to Avatar?
So the only thing that I could think of was when he said it didn't do his job for 3 months.
Yeah.
It was because he like runs off and he's with the Pandorian
Na'vi.
people, the Na'vi.
Na'vi.
Yeah,
It's good.
that was good.
That was good.
Talk about that comeback. That was a. I think
That
that
was
was
good.
Yeah, you were. That was.
I didn't see
That
his
was
hand that whole time, but you know
That
what
was
I'm
Red
saying?
and Link dart throwing for the international dishes comeback right there, my friend.
Yeah, man, dude, that's what's up.
Good game or what? That was pretty good.
That was really good.
That was real good.
And it plays
Thanks,
well for the
chat,
pod.
man.
Like, come on.
Mhm.
It did not help me out, chat. I was trying to cheat, and you guys are freaking horrible bosses.
Honestly, it put so much anxiety on me, especially when you got 3 up and I didn't have anything.
Yeah. Back to the Future. I didn't even think about that. To be honest with you, I was like,
yeah,
"Whoa, that was good."
The
was
Mulan
really good.
one I thought was going to be like the easiest one, but I changed the word because excuse me, I said the job interview thing. Then I said then steals her dad's stuff and goes to the army.
Yeah,
that would have been a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
So I just said ran away and went to the army.
So is the live action Mulan? She gets fails an interview and goes, or was that an animated one?
He's talking
it's
about
poorly explained. Remember, poorly explained. So
She's
when she
doing
does the thing with the marital stuff and she does bad at it, it's a failed job interview.
Yeah.
Same way that I said a man instead of a robot for Wally. It's like
yeah. Gotcha.
So,
that was an easy one. Becca, you would never would have got any of those. 0. You would have been.
I didn't realize that guy is from North Carolina in Avatar.
Shout out North Carolina, my friend. Hey, listen, I did my
Is that
research
like at
here,
the
brother.
beginning?
All right.
Is he like North Carolina when he's like dreaming?
I think it's the very beginning when he's talking about how his brother died and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool.
So I'm gonna post something right here in the chat. When fellas, who's this? Somebody wrote in. They missed last week. 2 cents, Matt.
Villains.
Matt, you want to hit this one real quick before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah.
Apart.
So my good friend Jason here, we worked at Best Buy together. We talk Marvel all the time, direction, everything like that. Talking about wasting villain, talking about MODOK. MODOK was never going to be a superstar villain ever, nor should he be. Talking about Kang and this version of Kang, spoilers, and this version of Kang, dying. He's not dead. I think what you missed last week, Jason, is I said that my theory is that he's in the Beyond. He's going to be the Beyonder. He's going to be the one that pulls the strings at the end of the day. The other Kangs feared him for a reason, and they banished him outside of where the rest of them are at because they were terrified of him specifically. That includes Immortus, who is the last living Kang of all time, is even terrified of this version of Kang. So I think there's going to be plenty of Kangs to go around. Like, don't fret about this version of Kang dying. 2, he's going to come back in the Beyonder as the Beyonder probably. 3, I'm more excited to see what they do with Victor Timely in Loki season 2.
Yeah. Also, he hints that he has seen how it ends. So I think you're spot on. I think he's not done. He knows it might be a different version of him, but I don't think he's gone. I think
MODOK was perfect. Kill him. I think it was a terrible character.
I don't know. I don't know what more you could have done with MODOK,
especially inside the quantum realm. He's stuck there unless they get him out.
If he was more of like a galaxy-based character, I think you could have kept him around. But I don't see him interacting.
Yeah. Plus, he's an Avenger. He's not. I mean, he's not a villain.
What other villains does Jason feel like got killed off?
Yeah,
every single one of them.
Yeah, every
Everyone.
Steven feels the same way. I think what really puts emphasis behind that notion is only one villain, and it's Killmonger. If if Killmonger never dies, this like talk of villains like staying alive wouldn't even matter because none of them mattered until Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Honestly, though, like I remember one of the high moments of Black Panther was when Killmonger dies, because
Ultron.
I was like, no, don't, like. And so I feel like if they didn't, it takes that away from it. But I would have been happy if he was around. But I remember like feeling like, dang it, no, like they could have kept him. Yeah,
they really messed up with that one.
I think they messed
looking
up with
back
him.
at it now with the whole Black Panther, with Chadwick passing away.
Yeah,
he would have been perfect, dude.
Yeah, dude, his redemption arc would have been so cool.
Yeah, but you keep the door open is the point.
Yeah, I also think they messed up with Ultron. I liked Ultron as a villain. I think that the fact that he didn't escape was just a letdown. But like I thought it'd been cool if maybe somebody had their phone plugged in, you know what I mean? And like they unplugged it at leaving, and he was just in their phone, or he happened to get away a certain way, and then just kind of let him be, you know, and then bring him up when you needed to. I think that would have been cool, or get corrupted. I think that would have been also too. But the fact that they killed him, what's the dude's name? What's the dude's name from Wakanda or from Black Panther? The dude who gets in the vibranium, they cut his arm off. Remember?
Claw.
Yeah, Claw. Him, Crossbone. They kind of end villains a little too soon. I think.
So here's my rebuttal to that is, one, you have these characters that define other villains. So Claw for me was okay because it made Killmonger seem that much more
brutal.
Yeah. Because he didn't care. His goal was, I'm getting back to Wakanda. I will use you as a stepping stone. When I no longer need you, you're out of the picture. And so for me, that made sense. But also at the same time, I kind of like the guessing of, okay, is this person going to be a threat, or are they going to be a throwaway?
Yeah.
I do
know the actor who plays Crossbone in the Cap movies is signing on to play a villain, I believe, in the DC universe. So that he had a falling out with the MCU. So
it gets tricky with villains in the MCU because you have to like think of it as like there's a focal point. The Avengers don't just come together for
coming together for Crossbones,
for Claw, or for even Killmonger.
True.
But not even just that. Like if these heroes are to be heroes, they need to win. And if these villains are running around, they haven't won. Yeah. There's a too much on my plate kind of situation there when like we need Strange to come and then Mordo's causing chaos. And the villains that have kept so far, let's look at them. Hammer hasn't been touched in freaking 10 years. Mordo hasn't been mentioned in 6 years. And these are guys that kept alive for future MCU films. It's like, okay, we just can't get to them now because there's bigger things at play here. So it's not worth keeping the contract, number one, for Marvel's like studio money. And number two, it's just not worth like even looking at them again. I mean, Mordo came back in this film and like it made me, Mordo being a random character instead of building him up in the first film to be this crazy villain, and then coming in this film would have made more sense to me than him just like, oh, it's been 5 years. He's been trying to kill me all 5 years, and he's my friend now. It's like, well, no, like, let me see that, like, or just get rid of the character and just don't make him what he is, like,
for sure.
Well, that's a good way I can't justify though. But
that's a good way to end the show tonight because thanks for that question. Who was that? Your boy?
Jason.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, and we appreciate the question and kind of helped us out wrapping it up. It's a big table talk between me and Matt all the time. I'm always bringing that up.
I feel like we could talk another hour about that.
Oh yeah, easily. All right, yeah. So what homework this week? Me and Andrew got to watch Mandalorian, the first two. But the first two we should definitely.
Let me add on to that homework if you guys have time, of course. That Call of Duty League event I was talking about last week is this weekend coming up.
Yeah.
So tune in. The whole Toronto talk I talked about last week. Toronto put the brakes off of Optic when they played a couple of days ago. So so maybe I'm just completely wrong here. But tune in this weekend. It's going to be on Twitch, twitch.tv/Call of Duty.
I'll check it out.
It should be. It's entertaining at the very least. Even if you don't know what's going on, just seeing the amount of seeing people just get shot at in a video game is just great. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that does that for our show tonight. Appreciate the comments coming in, minus the ones of me having a receding hairline, being old, being a loser. I don't appreciate that. But that's all for us. We're signing off. See you guys later.
Adios.
Later.